Okay, so I just talked for like 5 minutes and realized I wasn't even on video. I was on photo. So this is how awesome I am at this. Anyway, I am in my car again. I figured this is the best time to do it. I'm at carpool sitting waiting for my son, so I have a few extra minutes. So I just laughed, cried, and felt anxiety and stress within a matter of like 45 seconds. Just looking at my emails and texts. So hilarious. I thought I'd like share that. I'll tell you what happened. But first of all, I had the radio on and I was listening to my guy that I love in San Diego. I think he was a history major at Yale University, so he's just really interesting and I learn a lot. Anyway, very smart guy. But he was playing this comedian who was making fun of like student loan debt and just how outrageous it is and how universities, he's like, how can some universities charge so much more than other universities? It's not like they're teaching different facts. He's like, what are you going to go to the community college? And they're like, okay, well, the Revolutionary War started shortly after the Tea Party, and at these prices, that's all the information we can give you. Anyway, I was like, seriously. Anyway, he said getting a loan for college is like getting a small business loan, and you're the business. He's like, can you imagine colleges, like, they're not going to give these people loans. Like, what is your business? He's like, I dropped out of school because I just realized I'm not that good of a business investment. So he's like, imagine going into the bank and telling the guy, okay, so for the next 4 years, I plan on getting blackout drunk, and at the same time, I'm going to get a degree in sociology. And the guy'd be like, get out of my office. Like, I'm not giving you money. Are you serious? And then the kid goes, well, and I have a way to pay it back, though. I plan on paying $80 a month for the next 240 years. Anyway, it totally had me laughing. It's just so out of control. I don't know what I'm going to do with my kids. My son right now is going to community college. He passed over 4 football scholarships to on his mission. And now he's back. He's taken some classes at community college, training, and then he's going to try out for football in the spring. Hopefully he'll go to a D1. But I love the fact that he's taking these classes at the local community college for dirt cheap. And he's really researched, found the best teachers, and taking some great classes, you know. He's majoring, I think, in biology. He wants to be a doctor. But anyway, just to get some of these classes out of the way, so smart. So smart. I don't see the appeal, and the only thing good about going to these really expensive schools right off the bat is just bragging rights. It's mostly for your parents to be able to tell people, my kid goes to Harvard or whatever. It's great to have a graduate degree from those schools. It obviously looks awesome on your resume, but to go there as a freshman, I just don't get it. But anyway, so the next thing, I had a text come in, and a good friend of mine whose son was one of my son's best friends, the one that passed away. They were on the wrestling team together. So her son is like ranked 3rd in the state. Phenomenal. Anyway, he's a senior this year. And she just texted me to tell me that it's senior night in 2 weeks and they're honoring the seniors. And she was asking my husband and I if we wanted to go. They want us to honor my son, who would have been a senior this year. And he was on the wrestling team for 2 years, freshman, sophomore year, before he passed away. And as soon as I read that, you know, obviously just like very impactful, and just imagining doing that, you know, I mean, it's so hard, those things, but at the same time, I will do it every time to honor my son. So I've never turned down one of those opportunities, you know, and to be there with his friends who respected him and loved his work ethic. And even when he was going through chemotherapy, he'd still be wrestling and just fighting through it, and just his grit. And, you know, just anyway, I want to honor him. So meanwhile, she said, go check your email and get the information. So I go to my email, hadn't gotten hers yet, but the email on there was from the sign place. You know how I was making a new sign for my son that my friend puts up, and I had to make it smaller. So anyway, apparently the picture hadn't been attached. It didn't go through or whatever. So I was like, oh no, you know, because I sent this to him 2 days ago, and I'm like, shoot, now we're way behind. And he said, call me so I can tell you how to do it a different way. So I'm like instantaneously, you know, go from tears welling up in my eyes to stress and like, I gotta get this done, you know. So it's just amazing the range of emotions that us human beings go through. But anyway, I wanted to just mention a couple other things I heard on the radio today that also made me cry and made me happy. The first was the 3 servicemen from America who went to Australia to help out with the fires, just out of the goodness of their heart. They just saw a problem and they wanted to help. And just people like that are just so incredible. And everyone should be like that. But they went over there and they had water bombers going down on the fires. They were flying a plane and the plane crashed and they all died. So in Australia they have their flags at half-mast honoring these 3 Americans, which makes me proud to be an American, and that servicemen would do that. Love that. And then the other story I'd heard a few days ago was actually about Angelina Jolie. Love or hate her, I've always kind of been a fan because she's doesn't care what people think. She's who she is, and she does what she believes is right, you know, what she wants to do. And the fact that she does a lot of voluntary work, you know, service work. She's served as an ambassador, I think, and she's worked with the UN. Anyway, she just brings subjects to light that are important to her, and love that about her. She's an activist. So I guess now she wants to educate children in the aspect of fake news and recognizing fake news, because there is so much. I kind of learned how to weed it out a long time ago, just going to the grocery store and seeing those magazines, you know, like Us Weekly and People Magazine and all this, and they get you with these headlines and you're like, oh my gosh, like Tom Cruise and so-and-so's going out again, you know. And I always took it with a grain of salt. First of all, I was in the industry for a while, years back, but you hear a lot of stuff, and most of the time those stories they're 99% false, you know, and the headlines are always misleading and false. So, you know, I love the saying, believe none of what you hear and 50% of what you see. I think it's more like 10% of what you see is what the quote is, but 50% of what you see, none of what you hear. You have to do your own research. You have to be savvy and don't believe what people tell you, but especially don't just see a headline like on Twitter or in the grocery store on the newsstand and just internalize that and believe it. No way. So you just gotta people just have to be more savvy nowadays, you know? Anyway, I love that she's doing that. Just educating kids how to recognize what is fake news. And basically, I would just say everything's pretty much fake news now because it's all commentary. It's all opinion, basically. So you just have to take everything in and do your own research and form your own opinions. So there's my little news of the day, and it's a gorgeous day in San Diego, so I'm happy. Anyway, despite the fact that I've cried like 3 times already today, I'm happy. Anyway, have a great day.